Cantor Addy, our whole household walks around the house singing that song when you sing it, and I just love that of all the things that we could be singing, we're praying, may we remember that we have wings to lift us up, if only we were called to use them. How do we find strength that we need to navigate tough situations? My family and I just returned from a wonderful vacation. We went to London and Barcelona. We grew closer as a family. We visited fascinating museums. We took thought-provoking tours, relaxed, and ate good food. At the end of the trip, the plan was to fly from Barcelona to London, and then the next morning from London back home. We got up early. We got to the airport in Barcelona early. The monitors gave us a range of gates. You know how they do that sometimes? They don't tell you the gate. They just tell you the range. And then there was a delay, and then finally we got the gate. And we were so happy to finally be in line and present our tickets and passports to the flight attendant. And he took them, and he put them on the scanner, and the scanner made the wrong sound. We had gone to the wrong flight to London, and our flight had already left with our luggage on board. What do we do when we find ourselves in a tough situation? We gave ourselves a minute to panic, and then we took a deep breath. We had to leave security to go out and come back once we had talked to the ticketing agents and figured out a way to get home. It sometimes helps me in those difficult moments to remember Norman Mailer's description in the documentary When We Were Kings at the end of the first round of the famous boxing match between Muhammad Ali and George Foreman known as the Rumble in the Jungle. Against an opponent that was as big and strong as he ever took on, Ali had a look on his face that Mailer said he would never forget. It's the only time, Mailer said, I've ever seen fear in Ali's eyes. Ali looked as if he were saying to himself, all right, this is the moment. This is that hour. Do you have the guts? Ali nodded to himself. Mailer said it was as if he was looking into the eyes of his maker. And he went into the second round with this sense of, this is what I'm here for. The time has come. I'm going to find a way. What is it that gives us the ability in tough situations to find a way? Rabbi Hara Persson, the CEO of the Central Conference of American Rabbis, has written about how, after praying for many years to have a child, she found herself in fearful tears when she learned her second child would be a son. She had grown up in a matriarchal family. She understood girls. For her, the story of King David helped her navigate unexpected terrain, including understanding the internal conflict between the parts of her son's personality rewarded for being compliant and obedient, and the independent thinking, brave hero he wanted to become. For her, our sacred texts helped navigate a tough situation. This week's double Torah portion, there are lots of tough situations. It begins with a ritual moment for when people come into contact with death, a situation many find uncomfortable, and the writers of Torah understood it as imparting the ultimate state of impurity. From our earliest times, we had a ritual for transitioning from a psycho-spiritual place we did not want to be, at least not for very long, contact with death, into a psycho-spiritual state associated with life. Not coincidentally, this portion then brings us readers of Torah into contact with the deaths of two of that generation's triumvirate of leaders. Aaron and Miriam both die in this week's portion. It's after Miriam's death in the throes of grief, that Moses and Aaron find themselves in a situation they would never enjoy. But at the moment of grieving their sister, it may have just been too much to bear. The people cried out against them and said awful things. Lama ha'elitanu mimitzrayim. Why did you raise us up from that narrow place of Egypt and bring us to this evil place with no grain or figs or vines or pomegranates? There is not even water to drink. It's in this condition that Moses struck the rock. As a result, he finds himself in another tough situation. After a lifetime of leading the people to the edge of the promised land, he finds himself forbidden from entering. Yeshayahu Leibowitz points out that he never apologized. He never takes responsibility for having done anything wrong. He only asks for the decree to be annulled. And yet he doesn't give up. In the same portion, the Israelites win their first military battles on the way to the land of Israel, and Moses, still at the helm, retains the strength and conviction to lead. Where does that strength come from? 19th century Rabbi Yehuda Leib Alter of Ger notes, as many commentators do, that the confusing preparation of a purifying solution at the beginning of our portion for when people come into contact with death, it begins with the words Zot Chukat Torah. This is the law of the Torah. It's the only time that the Torah tells us God said, this is the law of the Torah. Yehuda Leib Alter of Ger does something fascinating with this. He says, purity depends on Torah, and Torah can purify us. Torah can purify. He notes that in our morning prayers we say, Elohai neshama shenatata bi tahora hi. God, the soul you have given me, it's pure. Our soul and Torah are both pure. They're both made of the same metaphysical stuff. Like Torah, our soul, he wrote, is impossible to defile. By connecting our souls with Torah, we draw on our source of chiyut, our vitality, our essential life force. And it's a lot. To make sense of this, let's just remember what we mean when we say Torah. In the narrow sense, Torah is the 5 books of Moses. In a slightly broader sense, Torah is all of Jewish learning. And indeed, Rabbi Pearson's example is of using our texts to help navigate tough situations. But in its broadest sense, Torah is much more than that. It is all learning, not just Jewish learning. All learning which we turn to help us guide our lives. Learning from books, but also from each other's stories and wisdom and examples. In that sense, we can understand the very act of turning towards learning of that which we trust holds wisdom, be it the book of Bamidbar or an inspiring story of a sports hero or artist. Turning towards it can spark within us the life force we need to navigate the difficult situations in which we find ourselves. When we study Torah in this sense, including the Torah of coming together here in prayer and song, it plugs us into the source of our chiyut, our vitality. It revitalizes us because engaging in those actions earnestly sparks within us the recollection of that which is stronger than the difficult positions in which we find ourselves, and gives us the strength to say, I'm here for this. The time has come. I'm going to find a way. Excuse me. I'm going to find a way. May it be that this Shabbat we strengthen one another and fan the spark of our inner flame, more alert to the source of chiyut, our inner life force, awakening us, enlivening us, readying us, that when we need to draw on it, we may say, I'm here. I'm going to find away. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom. Koach.